So welcome to this talk, which is called The Restoration of Your Soul. So this idea of being restored, being fully restored to a state of perfect harmony, perfect love, perfect peace, even perfect health, we really need to let our mind dwell upon this idea. Almost let it consume our attention, consume our thoughts, consume our desires. This idea of being restored to a place of perfect harmony, perfect love, and perfect peace. Because we always get what we want. Our subconscious is working non-stop, day and night, to make sure that we get what we truly want subconsciously. Our subconscious desires are always achieved. The only thing is we're usually not aware of what those desires are, so it seems like we're not getting what we want, but we are getting what we want. But we're getting what we subconsciously want. And so if we really allow our mind and heart to be consumed with the desire to experience perfect harmony, perfect love, and perfect peace, which means the restoration of our soul, which means being restored back to wholeness, and having our connection to God restored completely, perfectly, so that it's an immaculate connection to God, where communication flows backwards and forwards, and we really feel there's no separation between us and that force that some people call God. You can call it divine love if you want to, or any other word that you find suitable. But I use the word God. So imagine having this immaculate connection with that force and really not feeling separate, really feeling part of it. It's almost like you're swimming in the ocean, but you feel this, you feel the boundary between you and the ocean dissolving, and you feel like you're one with the ocean. That's what it's like being really joined with God, allowing all the barriers between you and God to dissolve. And that's our natural state. That's where we belong. That's where we're supposed to be. That's what we're supposed to be experiencing, is this union with God, or communion with God. Because it's possible, and because we've been designed for it. And it's a great tragedy to experience anything less than this. Because this is what really fulfills our heart, fulfills our soul, really just fulfills the deepest part of our being. And that's what we're all looking for, whether we're aware of it or not, whether we think we want it or not. We're all looking for the deepest fulfillment of our being, because that's when we experience perfect harmony, perfect love, and perfect peace. And once you've had a taste of those things, once you've had a taste of perfect harmony, perfect love, and perfect peace, then you won't want anything less. Anything else will be a very poor substitute. And it's amazing what we have, what we use, what we choose as substitutes for love and harmony and peace. The substitutes that we make do with: distraction, addiction, temporary pleasure. Those are so empty and unsatisfactory, and meaningless in comparison to what we're really in need of. So let me remind you once more that you can actually get what you're really in need of. You can actually receive what it is you really long to receive on the deepest part of your being: the deep love, the deep healing, the deep peace, the deep fulfillment, the deep connection to God. I want this for you. I want this for everybody, because I know this is what will bring about the healing of the human race. And I think it's quite obvious if we look around that the human race needs healing. Each one of us needs healing. And it takes a bit of humility to accept that you need healing. But I promise you, if you're listening to this, you do need healing. We all need healing. I need healing. And it's so important to get a little taste of what it is that healing is, or what healing feels like, and what it does to us, and how it restores us and renews us, and how it restores our connection to the divine force of love, which I call God. It's important to get a taste of this so that we can kind of set our bearings, set our compass, and know what it is we're aiming for, know what it is we're looking for, know what it is we want, what we truly want. Because you can't know that you want something until you've experienced it. And then you can say, yes, that's what I want. That's what I've been looking for. I want more of that. So it's really important we get a taste of healing, a taste of God's healing, what it does for our body, what it does for our soul and our heart, the warmth it brings deep into our bones. It's really important to get a taste of that healing. Because when we do, and I guarantee you that when you do, then the deepest part of your heart will say, that's what I want. I want more of that. That's what I'm going to set my sights on. That's what I'm going to set my target on. I want healing. Because that's the most important thing. That should be the top priority for each one of us, is healing. Because as we heal, more light comes into our heart, more joy, more strength, more power, more compassion comes into our heart, and we make the world a brighter place. We make the world a more loving place and a more forgiving place. And this is crucial, and this is the only way it happens, by the way. You can't force someone to be loving, and you can't force them to be forgiving and compassionate and understanding. What you can do is encourage them to heal, encourage them to choose healing, show them how to receive healing, show them how to open up to healing. And then the change will happen by itself. People will become more loving. Society will change if we all focus on this, if we all focus on allowing healing to occur in our own heart, in every part of us. There's so much healing that needs to occur. If we all prioritize allowing that healing to occur and wanting that healing to occur, then that's when our world changes, and only then. That's when we see a rapid transformation of our society as more and more people heal, as more and more people allow their heart to be restored. And this is what I'd love to see, and maybe you feel the same way. This would be the most wonderful thing. And I believe it's possible. I wouldn't be recording this talk if I didn't think it was possible. I do believe it is possible. And I know it's possible for you. If you're listening to this talk, then your top priority is to attend to your own healing. And you don't do that yourself. It's God which heals you. It's the love of God which restores you and heals you and brings life back to your cells, brings life back to your bones, that kind of thaws the frozen bones. Our bones have been petrified and frozen in fear. The fear has gone deep, deep, deep into our bones over the decades, and our bones need to thaw out and become warm and alive with the fire of God. This is part of the healing. This is the deepest part of the healing, in fact. And of course, there is so much fear to let go of in our hearts, so much pain to let go of in our hearts. And your heart wants to let go of the pain and the fear, I promise you. It just doesn't know how. It's kind of, we're distracted. We're distracted from our heart by all that's going on in our head. Our society feeds a cerebral reality where we get consumed with thoughts and consumed with ideas and consumed with beliefs and consumed with images of what we think is going on in the world, consumed with visions of what's true and what's not true. And it's all a theatre. It's all a theatre of thought, a theatre in our mind that distracts us from our heart. And, that theatre is intended to distract us from our heart. And we have to be wise and understand that we don't want to get caught in the spider's web. We don't want to get caught in this illusion, this play of thoughts and ideas and concepts and visions in our mind. We need to attend to our own heart. We're all hypnotized by what's going on in our thoughts. We're all hypnotized by these visions in our mind, these pictures of what's going on in the world, our beliefs, our understandings. It's all hypnosis, all a distraction from your heart, because the pain in your heart doesn't want you. It's scared. There's something in your heart which is scared of letting go of pain, scared of letting go of fear, scared of letting go of control, and that's the most important one. There's something deep inside you which is terrified of letting go of control, because it's so sure that certain things will happen. It's so sure that it'll experience bad things and that terrible things will happen. And that's not true. I promise you it's not true. When you let go of control, when you relax your heart and you want to let go of your fear and you want to let go of the pain, then healing comes in immediately. Love comes in immediately. When you stop trying to control how you feel and what's going on around you and the people you interact with, stop trying to control your own mind. When you stop trying to control anything, that's when you see God at work. That's when you see what God is doing. Because He's not going to grab the reins of control out of your hands. If you want to be in control, God will let you be in control. If you're choosing to be in control of how you feel, what you think, your life circumstances, the people around you, if that's what you want, if you want to be in control, God will step back and say, okay, if that's what you want, you're in charge. But the most intelligent thing we can do is give up the reins of control in every department and say, okay, God, I'm going to step back. I'm going to take my hands off the steering wheel and see what your plans are. See what you can do when I give you control of my life, my heart, my feelings, how I feel, my mind, what thoughts come into my mind. I'm going to give you full control of all of those things. And I trust that it will be good. And this is important because it will be good. I guarantee you, because I've learnt over many years, over 20 years, how to completely let go of being in control of those things and allowing God to take over instead. And my goodness, it's the most intelligent, wonderful, sensible, indescribably beautiful process. And all I can say to you is do this. Let go of the control. Stop trying to control everything, anything. Learn how to let go. It's really important to learn how to let go, because we are destroying our own lives. We're creating suffering for ourselves. We're punishing ourselves with our own thoughts and beliefs about ourselves and about the future, with our own actions, with what we put into our body, with the kind of life we lead. Even with the words that we speak, we're punishing ourselves pretty much all day long. And if we stop doing that, if we stop punishing ourselves and stop denying ourselves, because we're really denying ourselves the fulfillment, the healing, the love that we really, really long for, we are the ones who are denying ourselves that by keeping our attention away from our heart, by looking elsewhere, by allowing ourselves to be distracted by entertainment and all this nonsense in the world. We are the ones denying ourselves the healing and the love that we're desperately longing for. So when you step out the way and you learn how to step out of the way, stop denying yourself, stop distracting yourself, stop controlling yourself, when you learn how to do that, when you learn how to relax, because relaxing is an integral part of letting go. Tension and control go hand in hand. Tension, control and resistance, they are all the same mechanism, kind of biological, emotional mechanism. Tension, control, resistance and fear. Those four things. Tension, control, resistance and fear. They make up the kind of four pillars, the four corners of this reality of illusion and fear and illusion of threat. There is no threat. We are imagining all the threat. Because when you stand in the light of God, when you are close to God, then no harm can come to you. Absolutely none, and I guarantee this. I guarantee this to be the case. No harm can come to you. You are protected. You stand in the light. You are under God's wing, so to speak. And you don't have to think of God in a biblical sense. You don't have to think of God in any sense at all. What you really need to do is just trust that force, the force of divine love, divine, intelligent, all-pervading love is real. I have to implore you to trust that is real. This is the crux of the matter. If you don't know that God is there for you, if you don't even believe in God, or if you think God is just the most ridiculous, stupid belief system in the world, then you're wrong. God is there. God is a reality, and you can experience the reality of God, and you don't have to use the word God. You can use the words divine love, which is more descriptive. But that is a reality that you can taste, you can experience. You can allow to transform your heart and heal you if you are willing to let go of control, let go of tension. That means relaxing. And as you relax, you let go of fear. That inevitably happens. We can't be in fear when we're relaxed. It is physically, biologically, emotionally, spiritually impossible to be in a state of fear when our body is relaxed. Because relaxation, or should I say, tension and fear are the same thing. We have a thought in our mind of something we don't want to happen, and straight away our heart tenses up and our body tenses up. It goes into a state of resistance. It's resisting the thing that you're thinking of that you don't want. So your body resists it as if it's real. So you're in a state of tension and resistance. And that is what fear is. That's the physiological manifestation of fear. Tension and resistance in the body. So if you want to let go of fear, you have to let go of tension and resistance in your body. And the way you do that is by relaxing. Allowing your body to be filled with oxygen, and this helps you relax. When you breathe in lots of oxygen, it helps you let go. It helps you let go of the toxins which come from being in control. There's all these toxins in our system, poisons. This disharmony. It's like a cellular toxin or a cellular poison. The disharmony that flows through our body when we're in a state of fear. You could call it spiritual darkness. It's a poison that our body cleanses itself of when we relax. So what happens is we relax our body, and as we relax, love flows in to take the place of fear. Because essentially, when we're tense and afraid, what we're doing is we're resisting life, which means we're resisting love. We can't experience love when we're in a state of resistance. And because God is divine love and wants to flow through us, wants to flood our being with his presence, then when we're in a state of fear and resistance, we are resisting God. We're resisting the divine love that should be flowing through us. And this is crucial to understand, that you can't experience the love of God while you're in a state of tension and fear, which is resistance. You have to let go of the tension by relaxing. When you relax, and you allow that relaxation to go deeper, then love flows in. Love flows in to fill in, to warm up the cold spaces in your body, to warm up your bones. Love flows in. And the more you relax, and the longer you relax for, then the deeper and deeper that love goes. And the deeper and deeper the healing goes, because it's love that heals us. Only love. The divine love of the universe, you could say. I call it God, but the divine love of the Creator flows through our body and heals us. It's as simple as that. But this isn't an understanding. This isn't something to think about and comprehend mentally. This is something you need to allow to happen. And you allow it to happen by relaxing your body and allowing that relaxation to go deeper and deeper, so that your arms are really, so there's no tension, there's no stiffness. You're letting go of control of your body. letting go of control of your emotions, letting the tension disappear from your stomach, because our stomach is really the seat of our emotion, and we hold our stomach tense because we don't want to feel emotions. And we fill our stomach with heavy food because we don't want to feel emotions. So we have to learn to relax our stomach. Get used to having an empty stomach sometimes, so that we're not resisting and kind of denying our body what needs to be flowing. Our body needs to be flowing with God's love, with God's healing. It's designed to flow through us. And all we have to do is stop resisting it. And we do this by relaxing. And I haven't got anything any more complicated than this to tell you. The crux of the matter is you need to relax your heart completely of all tension, which means all fear, so that God can flow through your heart and heal your heart. God will do this, I guarantee it, if you do your part. He's not going to force your heart open against your will. If you're holding your heart in tension, and you are the one holding it, by the way, if there is tension in your heart, you are the one holding it there. No one else is holding the tension there. You are choosing to allow the tension, the fear, to remain there. So if you are choosing that, God is not going to force you to relax. He's not going to force open your heart and make you open to his love. That's not how God is. That's not how God works. That's not what God wants. He wants you to choose what you want. And when you really want your heart to be healed by the love of God, then you will choose to let go of the fear in your heart. You will choose to let go of the tension in your heart and in your body as well. You have to choose this every day. In fact, you have to choose this in every moment, because we are constantly taking ourselves into fear with our thoughts. Our thoughts, when we give our attention to fearful thoughts or anxious thoughts of anything we don't want or like, then we are constantly allowing tension to come into our body and into our heart just by thinking. Any negative thought brings tension into your mind and into your heart. So we have to be vigilant all day long with our mind, because our mind has it's almost like we've opened the gates to anything. We've opened the gates of our mind to anything. So any thought that comes along, any negative thought, any unpleasant thought, we just allow it to come into our mind, allow it to come to our attention and get our attention. So we have to become more disciplined with our thoughts. And we have to notice negative thoughts and say, I don't want to give that thought access to my heart. That thought is negative, or that thought is unpleasant, or that thought is a fearful thought. I don't want to give that thought access to my heart. And so then when we decide that, we pull up the drawbridge. We pull up the drawbridge, which we've allowed to be down. It's like, a castle, old-fashioned castles with a moat around them of water. And you can only get across when the drawbridge is let down. And that's the same with our mind. If we let the drawbridge of our mind down to any single thought, any thought whatsoever, then we are allowing that thought access to the inner sanctuary of our being, which is our heart. We're saying, come in, and it will have a destructive impact on the very sensitive, very innocent heart that beats in our chest. It's so sensitive, and we have no idea what we're doing to ourselves when we allow angry, pessimistic, fearful, negative, destructive thoughts to come into our heart, or to have an effect on our heart. We have no idea what we're doing. And so we really need to understand that we're torturing ourselves by listening to those thoughts. We're torturing ourselves by allowing these thoughts to come in, by allowing the drawbridge to be let down to these thoughts, and allowing those thoughts to come in to our heart, have access to our heart. It's like allowing barbed wire or poison arrows to come into your heart. And you don't need to do that. You can pull up the drawbridge. You can not allow those thoughts to go anywhere past your screening process. You've got this screening process in your mind, and you analyze every thought, and you can say, well, that thought is a creative thought. I want to follow that thought. Or that thought is a destructive thought, or an angry thought, or a sad thought. You have to analyze each thought and say, do I want to give this thought access to my inner sanctuary, which is your heart? If you do, then you allow the drawbridge to go down. And, you get inspired by creative thoughts, and so on and so forth. But if it's a negative thought, a fearful thought, an angry thought, an unpleasant thought, then you must keep that drawbridge firmly up. And at the same time, allow your heart to stay in peace. Allow your heart to remain relaxed. So you could say it's a two-pronged discipline. And some people argue whether you need disciplines, but disciplines are essential. Jesus' followers were called his disciples for a reason. It's because he gave them disciplines. So I'm going to give you two disciplines, or I've given you two disciplines already. The first discipline is to stay in a state of relaxation in your body and in your heart. And you do that by noticing when there's tension, noticing when you're tense, and consciously deciding to let go of the tension and relax your body. That's one discipline. The second discipline is screening your thoughts, or screening the thoughts that come across the lens of your mind, and deciding which thoughts you are going to allow access to your inner sanctuary. Because in your heart there is soil, spiritual soil, and any thought that you allow into that soil is a seed. And so that thought comes in, and it's a seed, and you allow that seed to be dropped into the soil of your heart. And then that seed creates the desires in your heart that will help you pursue the goal, or the direction that you're choosing to move towards. Because when you're choosing to allow a certain thought in to your heart, you're saying, I want it. You're saying, I want the consequences of this thought. I want to get involved in the reality of this thought. And whatever that reality may be, it can be a reality of fear. It can be a reality of celebration. It can be a reality of anything. Any perceptual reality we want to have, we can experience, depending on which thought we choose to give our attention to, and which thought we allow into the inner sanctuary and to take root in our heart. And all thoughts take root in our heart. And so we've got many weeds growing in our heart because we've allowed so many thoughts to come in without screening them. So the way we uproot those weeds is by relaxing our heart. Because when our heart relaxes, then these weeds, negative weeds of destructive or angry or fearful mindsets, fearful perspectives, when we relax our heart, then the soil opens up, and they can't stand any longer. They can't be held up, because they can only be held up in a state of tension. They can only be held, they're literally held up by us when we allow our heart to be tense. So we relax our heart, and they cannot be upheld any longer. We're not upholding them when we relax our heart. So the weeds die when we relax our heart. So again, that is the first discipline. And it's no more complicated than that. Your heart and your mind. Address your mind and address your heart. And want healing. You have to want healing. You have to desire healing. Because you're not doing this on your own. God is with you all the time. And He wants to come into your heart. He wants to heal your heart. So you just have to want that too. You have to align what you want with what God wants, which is the healing of your heart, the restoration of your heart, so that love can take the throne once more. Love can be in the driving seat. Love can be your motivating force. You just have to want that. And if you want that, and you're willing to accept the guidance that God brings into your life in whatever form that takes, willing to listen to God, willing to pay attention to what it is He's trying to show you or tell you, willing to stay open to God and stay humble and stay loving and stay forgiving, if you're willing to do all of that, then you will be healed. You will be completely healed. If you keep that as your utmost desire. So that is what I wish for you, and I hope this talk has been helpful in this process. So thank you for listening. I wish you well, and God bless you.